I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Oklahoma Metropolitan Area Public Schools Trust. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the May 15th, 2012 meeting of the Trust, and I'd recognize a motion to that effect. Move or second? Second. Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. We've got two suburban school district applications for funding. Mr. Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are two items here, items 3A and B, both from Piedmont Public Schools for a wireless access and phone system and for furniture for intermediate school.
Are there any questions? I'd recognize the motion to approve 3A and B.
I'll make the motion.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Approved. Next, we're being asked to approve the amended project management plan for June 2012.
Mr. Chairman, this is an amendment for the project management plan for the 2007 bond issues. It's a result of additional money that was brought for the Taft and Spiegel projects, approximately $6 million.
Does anybody have any questions about this? I'd recognize a motion that we approve the amended project management plan. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next, number 5, we're being asked to adopt a joint resolution with Independent School District number 89, authorizing the OC Maps Trust to reimburse Atlas General Contractors, LLC for payment of OG&E invoices for electrical services at Coolidge Elementary School in the amount of $7,183.30, which amount will be reimbursed by the Oklahoma City Public School District to the OC Maps Trust Project ES32.
Mr. Chairman, this is a project that was closed out and went through the usual procedures, but inadvertently the electric service was not transferred back to the school district, and the contractor's main office, not knowing that the project was closed out, continued to pay that. So what we've done is produce this resolution so that the trust can pay the bill and the school district will pay the trust back.
Are there any questions? If not, I recognize the motion for approval.
So moved.
It's been moved. It's moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next is a contract to award a contract base bid plus alternates 1 and 2 to Mid-America Roofing and Construction, Inc. in the amount of $467,875 for Adams Elementary School roof replacement, and to approve bonds, contracts and bonds, project ES81.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is excuse me, a project to re-roof the existing building at Adams Elementary for $467,875. It includes base bid and alternates 1 and 2.
Are there any questions?
Was this an early start project in prior to, as this has it's been roofed?
No, ma'am, it was not.
Move approval.
Been moved or second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Vote. Approved. Next, we're being asked to adopt resolution ratifying the issuance of and approving addendas number 1 and 2 for Webster Middle School, awarding the contract base bid only to W.L. McNatt and Company in the amount of $7,371,000, approving the contract and bonds and authorizing execution of the documents upon receipt. Project ES69.
Mr. Chairman, this is another one of the middle schools that have been bidding recently, and as you say, this is for base bid to W.L. McNatt for $7,371,000. Mr.
Todd, this was the one that got too high bids the first time around. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's about $500,000. Yes, this is the one that we rebid.
Okay, so it was a rebid, and
it was rebid. We got a little bit of savings, not as much as we'd hoped, but there was some savings. We're still $500,000 over the PIP, but contingency funds are covering that.
And we're doing everything we need to be doing to the building. We didn't have to cut out things that needed to be done.
Yeah, yes, sir. You know, it's the typical wish list of alternates that we didn't get to take, but right. It is covering the basics.
Are there any questions about this? Seeing none,
I'm sorry. How close were the bids were they pretty tight? Do you remember? I know that we did rebid it, and they were substantially more, but were they better this time?
Yes, ma'am. They range from 7.3 to 7.7, so they were all fairly close.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Next, we have 7 change orders. The change orders look pretty much in line with as we've looked at before. I'd like Mr. Todd to comment on them if need be, and then we'll vote on them all at the same time if it's the wishes of the committee.
Mr. Chairman, on change order for Capitol Hill Elementary, most significant item is the columns at the pool area. These columns were covered with wood, and as the demolition went, it was discovered that the columns were severely deteriorated, so that is to replace those columns on that project. Moving on to Hawthorne, there's a sprinkler system that was required in the basement, and that was based on a Board of Appeals requirement. Would like to point out that there's a credit on Hawthorne of $3,395. There's a floor prep item, and that was when the floor was worked on, it was determined that the sleepers had been eaten by termites, so the lumber was no good under that. Moving on to Rancho Village, classroom modification. You're going to see 2 or 3 here today in these change orders where chalkboards were removed, and behind the chalkboards, it just didn't do a whole lot to finish the walls out, and the walls have been in very rough shape. So there's a cost here on Ranchwood Village to repair those areas, and while it's $19,000, it is spread over 11 classrooms. So it's an item that's spread out for each of the situations. Sequoia Elementary, same thing, item number 6 being the most significant. Again, chalkboards were removed and found that the walls were in bad shape. West Nichols Hills, at the district's request, there's a sidewalk being added for $5,383. Moving on to class and SAS, this is the most significant change order of the day with a lot of items on here, but this is the item that we've been talking about for several meetings about pulling the administration part of that project out. So I would like to point out that on this change order we have multiple credits. There's item 18 is a fencing credit of $10,846. Then item number 21, we have $68,356 credit for the administration area, and lockers and cabinets of $42,000 credit. But as far as the change orders, like item 10, when they took the wood off of the walls of this old building, it's found that there's a column there, and the plan showed that there should be a door there, so plans had to be redone, and the floor plan flipped, and some things had to be altered, and that change order covers that. Moving on to Northwest Classen. Again, item number 3, $18,659 in repairs behind chalkboards. I believe that's it.
Okay, are there any questions or comments on these change orders?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Okay, back to Classen. Where it says general conditions, what are general conditions?
General conditions is the cost that the contractor has for his bonding, his overhead, his insurance, and his superintendent. So he has a cost every day, and when we have delays and they're not able to do the work, he has a cost that builds up, and that's what we have to.
And it said at the school district's request, the temporary classrooms are to remain. Do you know why the school district made that request?
I'm going to have to refer to Todd Woodward. He knows exactly what that reason is. Okay.
The base bid Todd Woodward at the MAPS office. The base bid provides 6 temporary trailers, which houses 12 classrooms. They were supposed to be out in March. The principal and district admin representatives came to a construction meeting and requested that they remain on site. It's holding several sixth-grade classrooms, and they found it to be a convenience to have them on site, and at their request, we're providing that.
I'm wondering why that's MAPS, it seems like the school district should pay that.
It's a request that we had. We're just trying to make it as convenient as possible. We have quite a bit of the building still under construction. There are some classrooms still under construction. They found that it would be to their benefit if they stayed.
Then finally, the things that are being removed by this change order, will they potentially come back in a future contract?
That is correct.
Yes, along with some additional items that we've discussed in previous meetings.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion to approve all 7 change orders.
Move approval.
Move second.
Second.
Second. We'll vote. Approved. We have final acceptance for 3 schools, or 3 projects. Nichols Hills Elementary School, Early Start Fire Alarms Group 3, and to approve a revised maintenance bond and accept the Southeast High School project and place a revised maintenance bond in effect. Are there any questions about these 3 items? Seeing none, I'd recognize a motion to approve these 3 items.
Move approval on all 3.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. We now have 4 items to approve expenditure of funds for the purchase of furniture, fixtures, and equipment for Arthur Elementary, Hawthorne Elementary, Parmalee Elementary, and Independence Charter Middle School. Are there any comments, questions about these items?
Why is there such a difference between, is the furniture and fixtures budget just set by the number of classrooms in the building, or?
There's a lot of things that come into play. It's a matter of how much was renovated and also how much might have been repurposed. So some of the schools might have had some space that was repurposed, and we buy furniture for those areas.
Any other questions? I'd recognize a motion for approval of these 4 items.
So moved.
Been moved. Or second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. It passes. Next, we're being asked for concurrence with Independent School District number 89 in approving the preliminary report I-89 2007 School Bond Issue Project S70004 Classroom and Gymnasiums at Adams, Bodine, Horace Mann, and Kaiser Elementary School. I'll remind the group that the S7 means the 2007 bond issue monies that we're overseeing for the school district. Are there any questions or comments regarding this?
I just wanted to know if we've had an update on how many of gymnasiums where are we in the process in completing some of these gymnasiums?
I don't have that number, but I can get it for you.
Okay. It would be helpful to know, like at our next trust, where we are in the process.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Is there a motion for approval of this item?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Mr. Clowers, update status report.
Mr. Chairman, members of the trust, we've got 24 schools under construction. Where we received bids today on the Emerson Alternative School, and we will receive bids in August on Rogers. The downtown elementary is still in design. In fact, I believe there was a community meeting that was held, was it last night?
Tonight.
Tonight. It'll be over in the Little Theater at the Civic Center Music Hall. We're continuing negotiations on the admin building, so there's really nothing new to report there. The I-89 2007 bond projects, construction began on Coolidge, Van Buren, and Hayes, Wheeler, West Nichols Hills, Monroe, and Nichols Hills. Those are two different contracts, the first 3 being done by Globe Construction and the latter ones by W.L. McNatt. 3 schools are in final plan phase to be completed in August. for classrooms and gyms at Parmalee, Hillcrest, and Pierce. Preliminary report is scheduled to go to the board, or actually went to the board last night, and was on the agenda today, and will go to council next week from today on Adams, Bodine, Horseman, and Kaiser for classrooms and gyms. And then the project for the stadiums at Taft and Spiegel, the stadiums at Taft and Spiegel are in the preliminary report phase, and we're probably looking at advertisement late this year or early next year. That concludes the report.
Are there any questions? Are there any comments by trustees? Yes, Anthony.
At the request of staff, I was privileged to tour the construction of Northeast Academy. And there's at least one situation that you should be aware of where really nice new flooring, hardwood floors was put in, but the air conditioning condensation problems was not fixed. So the brand new flooring is being ruined as we speak. And I'm wondering if some change order could be done or some emergency repair could be done either by the school district or by MAPS. And I think this is throughout the building, but at least the whole second floor, all of the air conditioning units leak right onto those new hardwood floors.
Is it staff been made aware of that?
I think we've just been made familiar with that. We'll look into that and take care of that.
Okay. We'll get a report back for the meeting in 2 weeks.
Any other questions, comments? Any other comments by staff, citizens? Seeing none, we are adjourned.